Hello there, you're listening to The Box Office Show. I'm Ryan Hill.
And I'm Dylan Johnson. Today we're going to be talking about the box office numbers from last weekend and our box office predictions for this upcoming weekend.
We'll also be reaching back into the grab bag, this time gathering movies and TV from a feisty February. We'll touch upon the Kiki Palmer and SZA comedy One of Them Days, Wallace and Gromit coming back with Vengeance Most Foul, and the Chinese phenomenon Nija 2. We'll also discuss a slew of new and ongoing TV shows like Severance, Shrinking, The Pit, and, of course, White Lotus Season 3.
Starting off with some news, we have our final Oscars update leading up to the biggest night in Hollywood. The SAG Awards did premiere over the weekend, and we have some winners. Timmy Tim won for A Complete Unknown. Conclave won for Best Ensemble in a Feature Film. And Demi Moore wins for Best Actress.
All right. So we got a little bit of a shakeup in Best Actor, a shakeup for Best Film, possibly. Conclave building some more momentum. And then Demi Moore halts the momentum of Mikey Madison, who won at BAFTA and then the Indie Spirit Awards. So we'll see what happens. Again, Best Actress is still the one that's most up in the air. I don't know that Timothée Chalamet will be able to overcome Adrian Brody's momentum, but it also seems like in the supporting category, we have a solidified sweep for Kieran Culkin and for Zoe Saldana. So expect those two victories on Oscars night, but Demi Moore, Mikey Madison, they're still going to battle it out, and Timothée Chalamet still is the best contender to upset Adrian Brody. So we'll see how that plays out. Do you have any other last-minute predictions you want to give for the Oscars now that we are in the Oscars weekend?
I still think Mikey Madison is going to take it. I'm still fighting for it. I think she will win the Oscar. I think Honora is still cinched for Best Picture. I think is still a toss-up for Best Director. I could see them giving it to Brady Corbet or to Sean Baker. I really want them to give it to Sean Baker, though, but I would not be upset if they gave it to Brady Corbet. I think he still did a tremendous job. And I think Best Actor is still kind of a cinch for Adrian Brody, though I would not be upset to see Timmy Tim win.
You wouldn't be upset. How come?
Because I like Timmy Tim. He's just cool.
I haven't even seen the film.
I have not seen the movie. I just like Timmy Tim. This is the only reason I wouldn't be upset. I just like him.
There you go. What do you think of his speech? Did you see it?
I did not see it. I saw that he couldn't get the mic up.
That is true. So he had to hunch over a slight bit. But he was talking about how he wants to be one of the greats. He was like, I'm going to do something different. I'm not going to play humble. I'm going to say that I wanted this. I worked hard for this. And I want to be one of the greats. Just like he name dropped a few folks, including Viola Davis, which I was like, shout out. So yeah, he mentioned that he's looking to be one of the all-time greats.
I respect it. I respected the drive and the passion and the vision that he has.
Me too.
I think he's in a good direction.
I think he's on that track for sure.
Yeah, he's had a hell of a career so far already, and you got 40 or 50 years worth of acting to get out of him, barring any kind of tragedy.
Goodness, dark turn. But anyway, as of now, he's always gonna have youngest Best Actor at SAG
until someone younger beats him out.
That is true, and this is his only shot, I guess, only remaining shot to dethrone Adrian Brody, who was the youngest Best Actor winner at the Oscars. So if Timmy Tim does it here, he'll take that record. But if not, even when he inevitably gets an Oscar, again, he's, I think, definitely on that track. He'll be an Oscar-winning actor at some point. He won't be able to say he's the youngest. But oh well. As far as TV, SAG, we continued the Shogun sweep. We also saw Colin Farrell pick up another award for The Penguin. And this time around, Hacks did get some nods here, but the big winner out of the comedy category was Only Murders in the Building. Martin Short
Nice.
won for best comedic performance
Love him.
by an actor, and then they won ensemble for comedy. So great stuff there.
Yeah, I should watch that show. I have only seen the first season, and I should watch the second and third seasons now.
hmm It seems really, really good. I have not given it a go yet, but
Mm,
again, seems like it has a bunch of momentum still in
yeah,
its third season and beyond.
absolutely. And speaking of award shows, moving on from the SAG Awards, the Razzie Awards also happened, and the big winner at that ceremony was, of course, to no one's surprise, my least favorite film of last year, Megalopolis.
Your least favorite?
My
That's
least
crazy.
favorite film of last year.
Now that's just absurd. Let's the nomination. So it didn't win Worst Picture. That went to Madam Web, beating out Borderlands, Joker 2, Megalopolis, and Reagan. But again, Coppola did take Worst Director. Best Supporting Actor was John Voight for Megalopolis.
Perfect.
Incredible. Worst On-Screen Combo was Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga. The Razzie Redeemer Award. This is always nice whenever they give a nod to someone that previously either won or was nominated for a Razzie. Pamela Anderson won for The Last Showgirl.
Good for her.
Him. But yeah, worst screenplay went to Madam Web, and worst actress went to Dakota Johnson. Madam Web. Jerry Seinfeld, worst actor for Unfrosted.
Tragic.
So yeah, so Coppola getting worst director, and then he posted something on his socials about how he's honored to be given that award when so many people are afraid to buck against the trends of Hollywood at the moment. And again, you can say many things about Megalopolis. One thing that you can't say is that it wasn't a singular vision from an artist that had things to say and was going to say them no matter what. So he got his film across.
Terrible
If it
movie.
resonated with people or not, I think we know the answer to that for the majority of people. But still an awesome thing to do, to self-fund a movie.
Yeah, I
Go
mean,
balls to the
yeah.
wall with it.
I think self-funding a movie is incredibly admirable. I think when M. Night Shyamalan does it, I think it's amazing. I think when Francis Ford Coppola has done it now a few times, it's amazing. I just wish they succeeded more. I wish they were more successful. M. Night Shyamalan financially is successful. Like, he makes his money back and he keeps going, and he's my hero for that. To self-fund your
Mhm.
movies and to turn a profit and to keep moving, I think that is incredibly admirable and wonderful. In terms of Francis Ford Coppola, God, I wish he was successful. I wish he was as successful as M. Night Shyamalan, because then he'd be my hero again.
True.
Too
All
bad.
right. Shrek 5 is on the come up. At long last, it was teased at Puss in Boots 2, and now we are getting some footage from the film. Although I don't know that most of it, again, the whole mirror stuff. Did you see the trailer, the little teaser they put
I
out, 15
did.
seconds? So I'm hoping that stuff is not actually going to be in the film, but I'm assuming the shot, at least of the family, is going to be what we see. And yeah, they have a little Shrek family now, ogre family, and the daughter is played by Zendaya.
Yeah, Shrek doesn't look great, and apparently they found the reason online. If you find videos, apparently they've done some redrawings of Shrek. People are like, oh, he looks terrible. We can't figure out why. It's because his eyes are just slightly too close together. If you take them and you bring them back out, he just looks like normal Shrek again.
They messed up in drawing
They just
Shrek.
reanimated him. They like redesigned him.
Interesting.
And they did the same thing for Puss in Boots. I mean, Puss himself is technically designed differently because it's a different animated aesthetic.
Yeah.
They might have been like changing the aesthetic of the Shrek films a little bit for this new installment because it's so much newer. I wouldn't be like unfazed or surprised by that.
Fascinating. Yeah, I did not see that. I did not do my investigations onto Shrek's eye distance, but
It looks a little odd.
I'll have to look at that now.
The whole trailer is the humor itself is not great.
Mm-hmm.
It's not super promising. We'll see how it goes. I mean, Shrek has always been a commentary on fairy tales as well as current culture. I just wish I don't know. I wish it wasn't so cringe, I suppose. But
Dang.
I have hope because I do love the Shrek movies and I love Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. So obviously, DreamWorks knows what they're doing in terms of storytelling. Always has, always will. I just hope they can turn it around on this one because the other sequels have been coming out lately. I don't think Kung Fu Panda 4 was supposedly that good. So DreamWorks has got to just kick it in gear and bring it home with Shrek 5. Wow
Well,
me.
yeah, they did it with Puss in Boots. So,
Yeah. Puss in Boots The Last Wish is a great film. Everybody should go see it. That is a great movie.
mhm. And another film coming up on the radar, Barney is getting its own adaptation in a long line of Mattel adaptations from Barbie's success. Ayo Edebiri is going to be writing it, possibly starring in it. We're not really sure, but this film is meant to be for adults, and they have been saying Spike Jonze, Charlie Kaufman are inspirations. So, what do you
Bold
think about
choice.
that?
I'm down. I'm down for it. I think it sounds sick.
Yeah,
Were you a
I'm
big
very
Barney
curious to see
kid?
how it turns out. I'll be there. I mean, I'll see it for sure. But yeah, it's just fascinating that that's the direction they're going in. And we've heard it before too. This is not like the first time they've tried
Yeah.
to make a Barney film and like make it more meta and adult oriented. Daniel Kaluuya was initially attached. I think his production company is still attached. I don't know if
Mhm.
he'll be starring in it or not, but um, so yeah, so we know they've been wanting to
Yeah.
go this direction, and now Ayo Edebiri is going to be taking them there.
Were
So
you a fan of Barney as a kid?
I was
Me too.
absolutely, I was a big fan. I
They put me
don't
down to Saw.
anymore. I was looking, I moved out of the house and was collecting everything I've ever owned for 20 plus years. I used to have an old Barney book that would do the whole "I love you, you love me, we're a happy
Happy
family with
family.
a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too?" So I had that book, and it would sing that whenever you opened it. But now it's gone. I don't know where it went. Whenever I happened to get rid of it, but
So
yeah, I
sad.
was a big Barney fan.
Well, then looking forward to the adaptation. Let's do our box office breakdown for February 21st to the 23rd. In first place, Captain America, Brave New World Order.
That's crazy.
Why did you
Dang,
put
another
Brave?
one. I just Brave New World.
Order.
Dude, I got my sleeper agent activation kicked in. I guess New World Order. It's
God.
insane.
It's Captain America Brave, New World
New World
Order
Order.
is what
Yeah.
you wrote.
Again,
And
until
I
it
read
used to
it.
be
I read
called.
it not thinking twice because I will read anything you write into our stupid little script here.
You do. And again, what's funny is I'd say 70% of the time it's not on purpose. So it's just like random stuff that sneaks in there. Again, we haven't had it for a while, but the Maddie Mickelson, whenever I would put something for Mikey Madsen, it would just be that. And it's like, I don't know where that came from. I don't know why that was a thing, but so yeah, Captain America Brave New World Order. They should have went with that. That'd be a cooler title, honestly. So
Captain
yeah,
America
28
Brave,
million.
New World Order made $28 million over the weekend, which is a staggering drop.
Yeah, like 68% drop from its opening.
Fucking
So
A, dude.
I fell off a cliff.
It is very much true that the Marvel fans are out there and they will see it once opening weekend, and then that is it now. There is
Mhm.
no word of mouth make people want to go see it. It is just the people who still care about Marvel will go and see it once, and then they'll be done with it.
Unless it's good. Again, Deadpool and Wolverine
Of course,
smash
yes.
it because people liked it. This
But
one,
back in the day, even when they were bad, they still made good money. Like, the drop offs were steep on the second weekend, but nothing like this. And
yeah,
they still would have long legs
it's still been the
because
case. It's because it's such a strong brand with the fans that
yeah,
it has a inflated opening weekend compared to like the general interest that people have with it. So yeah, like the fan favorites have gone out more and more, and that's like never gone away. But the casual audiences have stopped showing up as frequently. So
yeah,
we see these harsher drop offs, especially post pandemic. Like that's when we started seeing these high 60% and then record breaking 70% drops. Insanity. Again, a blockbuster drop should be 50%,
yeah.
in the 50 to 60% range. So rough stuff
68 is
there.
insane.
The Monkey in its debut with 14 million.
Paddington in Peru, 6.5 million.
Dogman 5.8 million, bringing its domestic total to 75 mil.
Ninja 2, 3.1 million domestically. That brings its worldwide total to $1.9 billion.
Insane. It'll be hitting 2 billion sooner than we think. So that's an impressive feat. Again, no one would have saw that coming from the beginning of this year. Heart Eyes 2.7 million.
Chava, 2.6 million.
Mufasa the Lion King 2.5 million.
The Unbreakable Boy, 2.3 million.
And One of Them Days still in the top 10, 1.3 million, bringing its domestic total to 45 million.
And let's do our box office predictions for February 28th to March 2nd. The only movie coming out this weekend is Last Breath. Is that the Woody Harrelson deep dive movie?
Correct.
Dude, I don't know. 7 million?
It's a great prediction. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, we're going to go with 7 million. I think people who want to go see a movie and they don't want to see any of these big franchise stuff and they like Woody Harrelson, as we all do, we'll just go and see Last Breath.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's going to shatter expectations or anything.
No, I don't believe so either. But
All right.
let's dive into the grab bag.
Feisty
Once again,
February.
after quite some time. But yes, our Feisty February starting off with One of Them Days. One of the few movie slash TV shows in this bag that we have both actually seen. So
Correct.
I know it's been a while though since you had seen it. You saw it like opening, not the weekend, but at least the
I
first
think the
week it was
weekend,
out.
something like that. Yeah, I saw it pretty quickly on. I
So
liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was funny. I think SZA outperformed my expectations. She was a lot funnier than I thought she was going to be, and I think she's a very talented comedic actress. And of course, Keke Palmer delivers as
mm-hmm.
she always does, because Keke Palmer is fantastic and one of the best comedic talents of this current generation. She's phenomenal, and I think overall, it's albeit like a simple film, a very straightforward film where there is a goal. It is a day. They are trying to meet that goal as the day goes on. There are many comedies that are following this formula, so it is a bit formulaic in a lot of ways. It is
Mm-hmm.
still just solid. It hits all the right beats. I care about the characters. I want to see them succeed. I am laughing quite a bit, which is more and more rare as time goes on when it comes to like theatrical comedies. I don't know. They just don't make good funny comedies as much anymore. Is
Mm-hmm.
my opinion, which is just I think kind of sad. I always enjoyed laughing in the theaters. I think being in a big theater with a bunch of people and watching something really funny is a really great experience. And there's just not a lot of good comedies out there these days. And this is one of them. This is one of the good ones. What do you think?
I 100% agree. We talked about it like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, something like that. But yeah, One of Them Days was just fantastic. It was so fun, very funny. It's like, again, Keke Palmer has that power where any line, any sentence, even if it itself isn't all that funny, just her delivery can make it the most hilarious thing in the world. So she was fantastic. And again, SZA for sure, in her like acting debut was phenomenal. Like she did so great. So yeah, I thought it was a great time. As you said, it's a very straightforward comedy, but again, that's not anything against it. Like it's just breezy, quick, 90 minutes total.
Mhm.
But as you said,
It's a very
you
fun
enjoy
watch.
going on the ride with them. So yeah, I thought it was a very pleasant experience. The two things that were the funniest, I'm curious of what if you remember any of the
Mhm.
bits that you really enjoyed. But one was the the roommate that is just like crashing at SZA's place the whole
Mhm.
time, and then they keep making references to his package, let's say.
His
Um,
humongous penis.
and then you see it, and then Kiki Palmer, says something to the effect of Mother Medusa almost turned me to stone, and then looks into the camera and just that like face with her tongue sticking out. I was like, just so funny. Like, who came up with that? Like, I don't know if that was even the thing that they could have done in the script. Like, they had to just been like working that out on the day. And she was like, "Oh, what do we do this?" So funny. Like, that was hilarious. And then the other was when they're at the like loan office, and then they're checking the credit score, and she has like 143 credit score or something like that. And so
Hmm.
the lady's just laughing at their faces. That was also hilarious, especially because I love that actress thing. I know her name, but she was on Abbott Elementary. She was also in the last couple seasons of Curb, and she's just like truly, truly funny. So I hope she gets a lot of parts in comedies moving forward. Again, she was great on Abbott. Um, in this one here, she was part of one of the best bits of the whole movie. So
Hmm.
excited to see more of her. Again, we need more of Kiki Palmer as well. Like Nope should have kicked off a far bigger Kiki Palmer renaissance. So hopefully we get
What
more
did
of
you
that.
say? Say
Kiki
Renaissance?
Palmer renaissance. I was trying to find a Kiki Sans, but that didn't have enough
It's not
ring to it.
Renaissance.
Yeah, Renaissance, obviously.
Or you could say Renaissance, but you said Renaissance.
Yeah, Kiki Palmer Renaissance. I was trying to find a way to blend them together and it didn't work. But Palmer Sans, Palmer,
Oh, you were saying one word Pomerenaissance.
attempting to.
Attempting to. That's where I got
It didn't
confused.
work. I mean, you know what I meant anyway. I don't know why you had to get
It just sounded silly.
dwelling on the pronunciation of Renaissance.
Well, it just sounded silly to me.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Kiki Palmer deserves her flowers. I think she gets them from time to time, but for the most part, I think she deserves better projects and more often, like projects more often, because she's fantastic and she should just be in a lot more things and be taking the lead in a lot more things. I think she's great. I think she's incredibly funny. I think her comedic timing is wonderful. And then the one thing we didn't really talk about was we talked about SZA and Kiki Palmer being great, but their chemistry together is also really, really wonderful. They like find a way to really sell the fact that they are long old friends. They've known each other for a very, very long time, and that they've been living together for a very long time because they have that sort of flow and ease with each other, but also like a little bit of tension in regards to like criticizing each other as old friends often do. And I think they sell that relationship really, really well as the movie goes on. One of my favorite bits from what I can remember, and you're gonna have to correct me because I might be getting it wrong, but Kiki Palmer is, or no, SZA is retelling a story at some point, and it's the story of the woman who's hunting them down, who like fights people,
Oh
and
yeah.
she's doing like the drunk history thing where she's saying everything and they're just lip syncing everything. Those bits always get me. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anything. Or is it Lil Rel Howery? I forget.
I'm
No,
not
Lil
sure.
Rel Howery is something else. He's the guy who goes to buy the sneakers and he talks about she like tries to convince him that they were her dad's. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what he's doing. Or he was like, "Oh, it reminded me." Yeah, he was trying to pull some con to.
And he
I
starts
think it was
crying,
yeah. She
and
had
then
made
she
up that
starts
story, and then
crying.
he's like, "Wow, it means so much to you. It's your
Yeah,
dad's
tell me
sneaker."
more. He goes, "Tell me more about him." I
So
think
that
that's
was a
really
pretty good
funny.
bit.
And then it makes him start crying, and then it turns out he's also conning her.
Hmm.
It's a great scene.
But yeah, that's there were a lot of great payoffs to that too. The whole thing coming back of the loan office, which that was the cameo from Issa Rae, was just her voice. But as she's saying like, "Oh yeah, we will track you down if you do not honor your payments or everything." Like, there's a whole wanted list, a bounty, basically on all those people that they come
Mhm.
across when they first go into the office. So some great payoffs there. So yeah,
Yeah,
a very enjoyable
enjoyable.
film overall.
Very, very enjoyable. Very fun.
All right, how many crumbling ceilings out of 5 for one of them days?
I give it 3.5. I think it's a solid 3.5, though.
Nice. Yeah, I think I also gave it a 3.5. It's you can't go wrong with it. It'll be a good
Nice.
time, guaranteed. All right, let's talk about Companion, a film that came out again secretly at the tail end of January, but saw it in February. The film has some good reveals in it. Have you seen the trailers for it? Because I know you.
Yeah, yeah. I have seen several trailers.
Okay, so you know the basic idea.
Yes, I also know. I'm gonna. I guess I won't spoil, but I don't know a spoiler of the movie. I guess I won't say it. But go ahead,
Hmm.
do your spoiler free review.
Okay. Well, I would just say there are like there's one spoiler, supposed spoiler. Again, it's like just the basic conceit of the film, but
Yeah, that's
it
the thing
is
that I
in some of
know.
the marketing material. But it's more fun to go in blind. Again, I knew went in knowing it, so
Mm,
for me it was just seeing all the little hints that they give you fairly early on. Um, but again, the reveal that first reveal happens like 30 minutes in, and then the rest of the film is just them dealing with the fallout of that.
mm,
And there's plenty more twists and turns and surprises, legitimate like jaw dropping moments of certain things that they do. So I think as far as a comedy thriller, it's very strong. It's is very clever
really?
in how it sets up rules for the characters and for what they are able to do, and playing around with like how those come back later on in certain climactic moments. So I think it's just very, very solid. Again, a lot of laughs and then a lot of like surprise moments, and very tense moments as well. As there's a lot of chasing people down and hunting them down and all that. So very, very solid. I would recommend it. Again, a very light watch as well, as far as just it's not too complicated. Just go in, have a good
Mm,
time. I'm sure it's on streaming now since yeah, it's out of the top 10 and everything. So give it a watch.
yeah,
Solid performances in there as well. I think the cast is really strong. Jack Quaid is playing the guy, and he
love
did a
Jack
great
White.
job of being like that very unlikable, I'm a nice guy type of guy. And then the lead performance by Sophie Thatcher, I believe,
Yes.
was also very, very good. So I'm hoping to see a lot more from her in the future.
All right. Comparing it to Barbarian, their first film,
Mm. Um, as you know, I didn't very much like Barbarian.
I
I
agree.
liked Companion far more. Um, I
You
think
must
all
admit, though, that the twists and turns in Barbarian are very strong for what
yeah,
they
and that
are.
was a very an exciting part
Yeah.
was that first like half of the film. I would
Yeah,
say I was very
absolutely.
locked in, and then after that, I think it kind of went off the rails.
100%.
Companion, I don't think it has that same problem.
But
So,
but would you say that the twists and turns in Companion are comparable to Barbarian? Because this will convince me to watch it.
um, I don't think the strength of any individual like reveal or twist and turn matches what was going on in Barbarian, but
Yeah.
I think you'll still have a fun enough ride. Like there's
Okay.
enough in there that again either it's a surprise or it's just like a shocking moment that goes down. Like they escalate something in a certain way that it will be satisfying to watch it.
All right. I'll go see it at some point. Maybe sometime this week. I can go out to the theater and catch it because I did enjoy the idea of Barbarian, just not so solid on the execution. And I was looking forward to their next movie. I just did not have time to see Companion, unfortunately. So I think I will check it out because I do like them as filmmakers. I do not know their names, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Okay. But I'm giving it 3.5 Stalin birthdays out of 5.
Nice, nice. Now I'm going to talk about what I've been watching, which is Severance season 2. The first season came out 3 years ago. Can you believe that shit? It came out in February of 2022. What
That
a
is crazy, but
different
I
life we were leading at that
very
point.
much believe it because again, all these shows take forever now.
Yeah, insane, but well worth the wait. I remember watching season 1 of Severance. I think a little after it came out, maybe that like March or April, and it's on Apple TV, of course. And at the time, I was watching Ted Lasso because the season 2 of that show had just come out, and I was like, "Hey, I have Apple TV. I might as well check out this Severance thing." It's directed by Ben Stiller, and I love Ben Stiller as a director, and it's got Adam Scott in it, and I like Adam Scott. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Mhm.
And I think what I said at the time, which I'm sure I said it in a grab bag back then on the show somewhere. I know I talked. This is not the first time I've talked about Severance on the show. I just don't know when I did. But I think the critique that I said was that it felt like it's obviously like a compelling topic or a compelling idea. People who have their memory severed so that they can't remember their work day when they're out of work and they can't remember their regular life when they're in work. Like that's a very, very compelling idea.
Mhm.
And they build like a really fun mystery around it. in that first season. And I think the mystery was compelling, and then in the middle of the season they kind of make the mystery sort of secondary to interrogating like the philosophical ideas behind what what like the moral implications of severing a person's memory is, and like what that does to a person, and like
Hmm.
or like the idea of like work life balance in general, like the philosophical debate of the work life balance.
Sounds
And
right up my alley. I like that.
I didn't think that stuff was as strong as like the mystery was.
Oh dang.
And so I thought the middle part of season one wasn't as strong as the beginning, where you're building out that world, and the end, where they really build up on that mystery. And this time around, I went back. I had Apple TV Plus because I wanted to finish Ted Lasso, and I wanted to watch Severance, and I wanted to watch some more stuff. And I started over on Severance. It's been 3 years, so I know how season one ends, but I don't remember really the build up to that ending.
Hmm.
And so I didn't want to watch season two going in kind of blind. I wanted to rewatch season one as well. And this time watching season one, I have to say, I think the way they talk about all those philosophical ideas in the middle of season one, I think is really well done. And I think is really
Nice.
good. And I found it just as entertaining as like figuring out the mystery of it all. And I think they do a really good job providing social commentary on like being in the workforce and working in offices and working just like the miserable dread of having a job, like why it sucks.
Hmm.
And I really enjoyed it. I was like, season one, solid. I'm excited for season two.
Nice.
Season two is not done yet as of recording right now. They have 7 episodes out. I have watched all 7. I'm waiting for the last 3 episodes to drop. Season two of Severance is insane. It is awesome.
Oh
As
man.
I'm sure you can tell, it is blowing up online right now, more so than when
Mm.
the first season came out. They have a bunch of advertising behind it. It is now the most popular most viewed Apple TV Plus show, surpassing Ted Lasso, which is crazy because I don't know if you remember, but Ted Lasso was huge when it came out.
Yeah.
Severance is now blowing up. I see it online everywhere. Everybody's talking about it, and so I was really excited to get into season two because I started watching it. I got to season two once like the first 5 episodes were out, so
Hmm.
most people had already like seen quite a bit, and so I was excited. And oh my god, dude! If you thought like the mystery was compelling in the first season or like odd in the first season, the way they develop that and like keep raising more and more questions. They'll like answer one question, but the answer raises like 5 more questions. It's that great sort of mystery where it just keeps getting more and more confusing. And there's like certain episodes where I'm sitting there, I'm like, what is going on? What is happening? I don't understand. I don't see where it's going. There's plot twists coming and I can't see it. And I love that. I love the
Yeah.
feeling of not knowing where the show's going to go, which is great. The philosophical pondering of the work life balance, it gets even stronger in the second season. I wish I could tell you why. I wish we could talk about it. You need to watch it. It is so awesome. I have Apple TV Plus for the rest of March, and you have my login, so you need to. Maybe I shouldn't advertise that you're using my login, but you
Well,
gotta.
for the people listening, Apple TV and whatever, I'm not as
Okay,
of
yeah, you're
yet.
gonna
I've
get your
not
own.
accessed it, so we're
Yeah.
gonna see how that plays out, and we'll see if I can work it in my schedule. But the reason I'm inclined to do so is because I don't want to get any spoilers. I know nothing, which is pretty great. I've been insulated from all the Severance, so I know truly like zero things about it. And
Okay,
I,
good.
as it's blowing up more and more, I'm like, okay, the risk is getting greater
Yeah.
that a spoiler is going to sneak through, and I don't want it
Now
because I
that
know the reveals and the big mystery there is such a crucial part of it. So,
yeah.
if anything, just to preserve the experience, I'll try and dive into it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, now that all the big shows over the last few years have been winding down, Succession ending, I think Hacks is starting to wind down. I think uh, The Bear is starting to wind down. I think with all these shows, kind of, we're in like a transitional period of like finding new series to start watching. We need more like new stuff coming out right now to become like the big TV show to be talking about. And I think
Hmm.
Severance with season two is becoming that show. It's going to be like that, and like of course the White Lotus is still killing it, which we'll get there. But uh, I think Severance is going to clean up at the Emmys and the Golden Globes for the drama category of this year. Unless I get surprised by something else that I haven't seen yet, I think Severance is going to absolutely sweep. It is
All
insane.
right.
I think it's going to win all of the writing and directing awards because I mean Ben Stiller, it's a fantastic director. Always has been. Love Tropic Thunder. Love Secret Life of Walter Mitty. And now he's transitioning into TV shows, and he is giving like a voice to TV directors who are so often underappreciated. And I think a lot of the episodes that he's directing are coming out fantastic. He directed 6 episodes in the first season and a handful of others now in the second season, and they are wonderful and fantastic. I just I love it. I love it so much. It's so good. You have to watch Severance, Ryan. I give season 1 I give both seasons a 4.5 so far. But I have not finished season 2. It could bump up to a 5 very easily. It is some of the best television I've seen in the last few years. Absolutely. It is so compelling and so exciting. And also very, very like fresh and unique.
Hmm.
And also funny. It's just funny at times. They have very good humor, which is like I love seeing things that are very heavy and dramatic that know when to like know how to toe the line between being serious all the time and like throwing in a bit that
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't like take you out of watching it, but just kind of makes it more fun, I guess. I think it's like I think I will be hard pressed to find something that I think couldn't use a little humor. There are things, of course. I mean, Schindler's List comes to mind. Sophie's Choice.
Sure.
Uh, it's hard to fit humor in some of these, but I think a lot of drama, especially nowadays, where things are very, very dramatic and melodramatic in a lot of movies and television, could use a little bit of earnest, good humor just to break tension, which will then help rebuild tension. I think breaking tension and then building it back is kind of the key to balancing a really good drama, and I think Severance does it very, very well.
All right. So high praise for Severance, and you're calling your shot. In last, maybe it was the last grab bag we did. I think it was almost a year. I did the same with Shogun, where I was like, this one is one to watch, and could I don't know. I said it was gonna like sweep everything, but it was definitely the market quality where I was like, okay, we need to be on the lookout for this. So Severance season 2, you're saying has that chance to be the
I think
next
it's going to sweep. I think
Shogun
Best
and
Actor
sweep
Adam
everything.
Scott. I think Best Actress Britt Lauer. Best Supporting Actor John Turturro. Best Supporting Actor nominee the gentleman something Tillman. He plays Mr. Milchick in season 1 and
Mm.
2. He gets a nomination, but I think John Turturro wins. I think Best Director nomination Ben Stiller. Best Director win Jane something. She's the cinematographer for the show, and she directed one of the episodes that just came out. Fantastic. I think Best Writing
Every,
win
every
Dan Erickson.
category, every
I think
single one, everyone
best
you got.
best drama series Severance. I think it's gonna
Wow.
sweep, dude. Unless something comes out that because there's just what else is coming out? What are the other drama shows that are coming out that aren't already over?
Again, who knows? I don't know what could rival it. We'll have to see any like news show because again, they tend to like new shows tend to always do very well if it's got like a dynamite first
Oh, yeah,
seasons. We can see that, but yeah, it definitely seems like Severance is going to be one to watch. The talk of the
yeah.
town.
Check it out, man. If you have a free chance, check it out, man. It's
We
a
shall
it's a
see.
brief watch. I'm burning through it right now.
For our next movie to talk about, Captain America: Brave New World.
Order.
I can be confused with Brave New World Order. It is the new MCU film coming out, the sequel, I suppose, to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, more than anything, and a sequel to The Incredible Hulk from way back when. Technically the first MCU film, but very little connective tissue between that and what we have now, since Hulk and Thunderbolt Ross are both recast. So I think you can wait this one out. You don't need to see it in theaters, but I think it'd be fascinating for you to see it, given that it
Maybe.
does have so much tying into those previous properties. I'm not sure how big of a Incredible Hulk fan you were, but Falcon and Winter Soldier, since we did watch that, it does carry on some of those through lines. The new Falcon, Joaquin Torres, I think, and then Isaiah Bradley, one of the people that were experimented on with the super soldier serum and was technically one of the other Captain Americas that had existed. I think he was like one of the stronger parts of the film, just like that relationship continuing in this one. And
Mm.
Harrison Ford as President Thunderbolt Ross. He showed up. Okay, he was definitely there just for a paycheck, but he earns those paychecks. He was definitely the most interesting part of the film. Anytime he showed up on screen, and his whole dynamic of trying to get back his daughter's love and attention since for 20 whatever years, ever since the Hulk fiasco, he has not had her trust or her love or even been in contact with her. So he's doing whatever he can to make it up to her, and continuously makes mistakes along the way as he tries that. So I think that part of the film worked. Everything else absolutely does not. The
Oh man.
political thriller part of it, trash. The action, trash. The even a lot of the just like character dynamics and like Sam is the main character here. Anthony Mackie is now the lead. He is Captain America, no doubt about it. But I just don't think he works well when he's trying to play the serious, righteous hero type. I think he is so good when he's like bantering and is more on that like human level with people, like when he's talking with Isaiah or he has a heart to heart with the new Falcon towards the end of the film. And those are when he like really shines. But it's all this other stuff where he's trying to be like serious and embodying that role of the new Captain America. I am the
Mm.
hero. That he's just not as interesting. He's just not as dynamic, and so that makes it a little bit of a tough watch. So yeah, overall, not not another shining entry from the MCU, but hey, Harrison Ford becomes a big red Hulk monster. So that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Big old red guy. What do you give it out of 5?
Exactly. I'll give it 2 red Hulks out of 5.
Damn. Trash. Unfortunate.
Indeed.
Now I'm going to talk about a little show called Common Side Effects, which is airing on Adult Swim slash HBO Max. Max, whatever you want to call it. I call it HBO Max still.
I still do as well.
Powered
No
HBO Max.
disrespect. Yeah.
Uh, it is produced by, oh my god, I forget his name. Mike mm, Wazowski. No, he did King of the Hill. Mike
I'm gonna
Mike
help you out here, bud.
Mike Judge. Oh my god. Mike Judge.
All right.
It's produced by Mike Judge. It is about is animated. It is about a young man who comes across a mushroom in the forests of Peru, and this mushroom has the ability to heal anything.
Mm,
And he's trying to deliver it to the people. But while doing so, he's being hunted by the DEA and pharmaceutical companies who are trying to prevent him from distributing this magic mushroom.
gotcha.
This is Adult Swim. You know, it's an adult cartoon. It's what it's geared towards. Rick and Morty, Robot Chicken, that's what Adult Swim is known for.
Mm-hmm.
And they're also, I mean, they're mostly known for, very comedy heavy sort of TV shows, right? And so I was looking forward to this as being like a sort of like more well thought out, like plot heavy comedy show. I was like, this is gonna have some good laughs. It's Mike Judge, it's King of the Hill. This is gonna be real funny. It is not. It has really. It's like Severance. It has the same tone as Severance. It is
Mm,
very very heavy, kind of all the time. But it does have moments where it is very very funny, which is great. It's great to break that tension, but it is not. I would not call it a comedy. I would call it very much like a drama animated show. And You said that Captain America: Brave New World did not satisfy your taste for political thrillers,
Mm-hmm.
dude. The intrigue in this show, the thriller aspect of this show, is so exciting. He's being like hunted the entire show. He's being hunted by assassins and hitmen and like DEA agents, and God, it is just and other like mycologists. It is insane. It is very, very entertaining. And also, in my opinion, I think the animation is breathtaking. I think at first it's a little bit jarring because the way they draw the characters is kind of like wonky looking.
Mm-hmm.
They have like they have big bodies and huge, big heads, but little tiny faces on the heads, kind of. So it looks a little bit wonky for sure. But once you get used to it, it kind of feels completely normal. And then the show kind of settles into the tone it wants to settle into, and it is just it's so awesome. It is like Severance, one of the best shows I've seen in a long, long time, and I
Wow.
am massively entertained by
How
it.
many?
It is.
It's only been like 4 or 5 episodes, right?
They have 5 episodes out now, I think. Maybe. God, let me look it up. I just caught up today because I had been behind. They have 5 episodes out right now. It is so entertaining. It is awesome. Please watch this show. If you had to choose between the two, I'd rather you watch this than Severance. I think you would
Really?
like Severance more, but I think this is something I would like to talk about more. This show is I just don't think anybody else is going to see this. I think I will find a lot of people who will watch Severance, especially now that it's blowing up, and I can
Mm-hmm.
talk about it with a bunch of people. I think this is one of those shows that is great, and I don't think a lot of people are going to be seeing it right now because it's just the first season, but maybe it'll blow up later. Like BoJack was kind of like that when it came out. Like
Mm.
people kind of thought it was silly, and it's an animated show. It's like kind of heavy at times, and it didn't really blow up till close to the last season came out. And then especially now that the whole thing is out, people can watch it on Netflix. It's huge. People talk about BoJack a lot on the internet. I think this will have a similar effect. It is so entertaining, and the political intrigue is fantastic. I give it a full 5 out of 5 so far. I love it.
Whoa, this is crazy.
The
I can't believe.
writing on the show is perfect. It is absolutely perfect.
All right, interesting. I might have to work that into my schedule again. Lately, I've
Please do.
been because in the first month of the year, I was just doing a movie a day, so I didn't have much time to watch TV. Although I did watch both The Bear and season
Mm,
two, like first season of The Bear and then season two of Squid Game during
mm.
that time, which is crazy. I don't know how I pulled all that off. But now I've just been
Also,
watching shows here and there. And I was about to go back into a full like just movie binge, but
also,
now you're giving me some new shows to watch.
oh
Interesting.
yeah, I'm hopefully getting ready to dump my TV binge in favor of a movie binge because I've been watching so much television the last month. I have like one of them
Mm.
days is the only new movie I've seen. One of the only movies I've seen all of February. My letterbox is trash right now because I just have been watching so much television. I've been trying to burn through the Apple TV shows so I can cancel my subscription.
Right, right,
But uh I think this is kind of stupid, but I think the hallmark of a really good show is like a theme song that I really bop to, one that's like a no skip sort of theme song. I think
sure.
Better Call Saul has one, especially because it's quick. Same with Breaking Bad. They're both bangers, but they're very fast, so you don't really have to skip them. Benefit to
Hmm.
them. BoJack has a very banger theme song. I think Arrested Development has a very silly little banger theme song. Westworld, fantastic. The pinnacle of all television theme songs, Succession, the
Oh
greatest
yeah,
television theme of all time.
I need to learn that one on the piano or
Oh,
something because
dude,
I
yes, please.
learned the Westworld one way back when, but the Succession one would be fun.
The Westworld one is fantastic too. Nicholas Bertel, man, he did both of them, didn't he? Nicholas
If
Bertel.
so, would it go? HBO
He
needs
is a
to
goat.
have
He
him
did
on
both,
for
I
everything.
think.
That's
He is a
amazing.
goat. No. Westworld was Raman Djawadi. I'm wrong. Nicholas Bertel, Succession. Raman Djawadi did Westworld, but Raman Djawadi also did Game of Thrones, I think,
Oh, he's a
which
goat.
is which is
That's okay.
also a banger theme song. I gotta look it up. I want to make sure I get my facts correct, but I'm pretty sure it was Raman Djawadi. Uh,
Gotcha.
but what I'm trying to say is Severance and Common Side Effects, banger theme songs, dude. They're both great.
Well, all right, and that's a good segue into White Lotus, who in the first two seasons had undeniable banger
Yeah, it did.
intro music.
Thoughts on the
Uh,
season 3 banger music?
I think it's good. It is growing on me because at first I was like, "Oh, we're missing
I was
that." Like,
disappointed at first so much,
yeah, the like
but
lead, the like that part is just so good. And I wish they would have it there.
it's just so yeah, it is fantastic, dude. When the two shows I was watching at the time were the White Lotus season one in succession, and I was just bouncing between the two.
Oh yeah.
Ah, what a great thing to watch back to back. But yeah, I think the season three theme song is starting to come around on me. I still am disappointed that they didn't keep the theme, just because I think developing the same theme to different like or the same
Yeah,
song to different themes
instruments
would
that
have
are
been
relevant
very
to
very entertaining. Yeah.
the area they're in now. Like, yeah, that'd be cool. But
However, I like how the season three theme song changes as it progresses, and towards the end, it becomes very electronic. I can fuck with that. I think
mhm.
like the heavy like dubstep sort of thing kind of works for it. Still a little
For sure.
disappointed though. Not as good as season one or two,
Yes, indeed. But all right,
but
your
the show
fact check.
itself.
Did you complete the?
Yes, it is Raman Djawadi who did Westworld and Game of Thrones, so he is indeed a goat. But Nicholas Britell is also a goat because Succession is the best TV theme song of all time.
It is just so good. Spiritual,
Honestly,
spiritual.
not just the theme song, every single theme he composed for that show is incredible.
Yeah,
They're like actual movements in an opera. They're incredible. I would
very.
go and
Yeah,
see the Succession music live in concert. I would pay to see it.
I know. There's a. I would love because you see that happen all the time. Like Hans Zimmer is always doing stuff like
Mhm.
that. So I do want to go to one of those at some point. And a
Yeah,
Succession
they
one
did. They did
would
Avatar
be nice.
recently. They did the Avatar in concert in Daytona.
Mm,
I was going to go, but I didn't.
thing. But White Lotus season 3. There's only been 2 episodes out so far. So, what are your thoughts? Very early thoughts. There's going to be at least 8 episodes,
Mhm.
possibly 10. I don't know. There's like a lack of clarity on that. I'm not too sure, but
I think it is starting off incredibly strong. I think the first two seasons kind of have a slower start to them, and I'm not like fully engrossed in the characters, like not all the characters as much as I wish I was. Like there are a lot of times where or both for season 1 and season 2, I'm like enthralled by a couple of characters, but I'm like warming up to the others as it goes along. I
hmm
think in this season, I love all of the characters from the get go. Part of it is because I am like it is to my in my opinion the most stacked cast they've ever had because I'm a fan of all of these actors that are on here. I love
hmm
the trio of women: Carrie Coon, Michelle Monaghan, and Leslie Bibb. I love Jason Isaacs and Parker Posey. I love Walton Goggins and Amy Lou Wood. I think everybody they have here is like incredible choices. So I am
hmm
100% entertained by every single person that is featured in this cast. And also, I think it is picking up the pace a little more, whereas the first two seasons, I think, are a little bit slower. I think this one really leaps in kind of strongly with like the character dynamics of who they are, how they're going to be interacting for the rest of the season. And also, I think it is a lot funnier at times than the first season. So I'm very much enjoying season three. I love I love Parker Posey. She's so funny. I love
the
her accent that she does.
yeah, that
It's
accent is
so great.
ridiculous. The
So
first
great to be here.
episode, I was like, "Are we doing this? Is that going to be sustained the whole season?" And she is. She's going all in. And
Do
in
you
episode
do you
2, I was
enjoy
like,
it?
"Okay, I'm down for it." But in the
I
first
enjoyed it from
episode,
the
I was
get
like,
go.
I'm like, I'm not about this. And then Jason Isaacs too. His accent was also hers is very consistent. It's just very grating, but that's also the point. His is just kind of all over the place, and so I was like, I don't know,
A
I'm
little
fully
bit,
buying into
yeah.
this family here.
I think by the
Um,
time season or episode two rolls around, I think he has it more solidly. I think.
somewhat. I'm still not bought into their like that family right now on like the totem pole of like who I'm interested in. They're still at the bottom,
No, I'm
but
very interested in them.
the uh the Walter Goggins and Amy Lou
Walton Goggins.
Wood, right? Walter
Yeah,
Goggins.
Walton
They
Goggins.
Walton Goggins.
Walton. You keep saying Walter. It's Walton.
Walt Goggins. He
Okay.
was him and Amy Lou Wood are
Yes,
great. I think they're
they are great.
fantastic. They're just dynamite. Because she was in Sex Education, and she's
Did you watch
fantastic
Sex Education?
throughout that show. Yeah, we've talked about it before.
We have. I've only seen the first 3 seasons, but yeah, she is fantastic in that show. Absolutely,
We both said we are like, it has no right being this good, but it is a good show.
it is a good show.
But then yes, I've only seen the first 3 seasons. Season 4 apparently falls off hard, so
Yeah, which is why I'm
not
avoiding it. I'm
inclined to watch.
okay. First 2 seasons entertained. Don't need to see anymore.
Yeah,
I don't want it to be ruined.
and now she's leveled up, and now she's in White Lotus,
Mhm.
HBO
Which is
flagship
great.
show here. So very happy about that because yeah, they're great. And then yeah, the three women, that little group,
I
you know
love their
from like the get
dynamic.
go, like how this is going to play out, and all their little jabs at each other, and
I
it's
didn't.
gonna
So
couple up and pair off. And so I'm like, this is great. This is going to be some nice
because the
chemistry.
first episode ends with Michelle Monaghan and Leslie Bibb pairing off, and Carrie Coon kind of being on her own, and I was like, oh, the whole season is going to be them like bullying Carrie Coon subtly, like very passive aggressively. But then in the second episode, Carrie Coon and Leslie Bibb kind of pair off, and they're kind of being passive aggressive toward Michelle Monaghan. I was like, oh, they're gonna trade off and just pair off and bully the third person when they're not around, just because that's what they do. And I
Exactly.
love that. I think that's fantastic. What a great dynamic, and also just they're so great at performing the passive aggressiveness, and the writing is so fantastic. The way they talk. Oh, I love this about her. I
And she
love
looks so
this. She
good.
looks
She looks
so good.
great, doesn't she?
You
She
said
looks a little
she looks
tired
tired.
though.
I thought you said she looks great. I
Oh, she
love that.
does. She
She does.
does.
She does look great. She does.
She's just been
But
through so much.
oh my god, it's so good. It is so funny.
So yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see how that all plays out and escalates. So that one I'm plugged in for. The Walton Goggins one I'm plugged in for.
He has the
Uh,
most intrigue about it for sure.
yeah, but the family I still need some more coming around too. What do you think about that? This whole I don't know, this incest simmering beneath the surface thing
Dude,
going on.
I think that's the intrigue that I'm excited about that to build up, because that's always very interesting. There was a little bit of incest in season 2, or almost incest in season 2, with Tom Hollander and the guy who's supposed to be his nephew but isn't
Right,
actually blood related.
you're
And
right.
we
You're
find
right.
out
You're
later,
right.
but we do
Yeah,
catch
that
them
was
having
crazy.
sex when
That
we
was
think
crazy.
they're related. That's a crazy end to that episode.
Freaking HBO and their freaking just incest plots.
Yeah. But I think that intrigue that they're building there is kind of exciting. I think it's crazy that they're talking about their sister losing her virginity and teasing her about it.
Yeah.
I think that's insane. And I'm also curious to see where Jason Isaac's character kind of goes, because obviously he's like this corporate guy who's getting very frustrated that he's halfway across the world, and he's like about to be like indicted on charges of money laundering. So he's
Exactly.
freaking out. I'm excited to see where that takes him. And I just every time Parker Posey is on the screen, I'm so entertained. I think she is so fantastic. I was sold on her accent from the very get go. I think she's committed so hard to the role. I think the scene that 100% sells me, and I think sold you, if I wanted to guess, is when they're all at like breakfast or something, and then the three women walk by, and Leslie Bibb stops to talk to her. She's like, "Didn't we meet at a baby shower?" She's like, "Oh yeah, we did." And then she's being so passive aggressive.
Nothing else. She doesn't say anything
Yeah,
else. Well, I
and
don't know why
I love that scene.
she was like that. If it's because she didn't like her, or
No,
if
she
she's
said
just
it. She said,
so
"I don't know that woman. We met 10 years ago at a baby shower. I don't need to tell her anything.
yeah, so good. So that we'll see how that develops.
I'm
Kiki
on
Kwan though,
vacation."
how'd you like that cameo?
That was a
Voice.
good cameo, yeah. It's too bad that he wants to fucking kill himself.
Hopefully he makes
And
it
Jason
through.
actually go,
See
"Yeah,
him
do that."
in the show. He did. That was crazy. And the guy, that poor dude that got in that one episode, what he got turned down, he got like beaten up by someone that stole from the store, and then now
Mhm.
he's over here in Jason Isaac's problem.
Yeah.
These
The staff is
employees
always
of the
the staff
resort.
of the hotels always have like good, interesting plot lines to them.
Yeah,
I love the season 2 plot line of the one manager, and she's like falling in love with the one girl, the one. I
I'm only a
love it.
fan just
I
because
think she's
Armand
entertaining.
in the first season was like so dynamite.
He is.
It was just
He
tough
is
to like
fantastic.
match
Murray
that.
Bartlett is fantastic in season
Yeah,
1.
but it's a great show, very enjoyable. Again, when it comes out, I'll watch it either that night or like the next night. So White Lotus, definitely good stuff there.
It's
Continuing on
always
our
good.
HBO Max bender here. The Pit. Have you heard of this? The new
I've
medical
heard of
show on
it.
the
I've
Fox.
never watched it. Can you explain to me
It-
what it is?
I
Whatever
sure
I need.
can. It's got probably one of the simplest elevator pitches you could possibly do. It's 24 meets ER.
Ah, okay.
Told in real time. Each episode is 1 hour in a shift at this emergency room in uh, in Philadelphia, I believe,
Hmm.
or Pittsburgh. I don't know. It is in
Pittsburgh.
Pennsylvania.
I'm guessing Pittsburgh.
Um,
It's
that
the
would
pit.
make sense, but I don't. They don't really. They bring it up that like the one guy, Noah Weil, plays like the attending physician there, and so he calls it the Pit, which is like not
Mhm.
its official name, and he gets hounded by the boss, who's like, you can't refer to it as the Pit here. You got to call it by its actual name. Um, but anyway, the Pit refers to that whole emergency room.
Mhm.
We got an ensemble cast of certain doctors and then certain medical students and interns and all this and that. Again, I've never watched a like medical show really. Like I remember watching House
Really?
when my brother was watching it. I remember
House is
watching ER when my
never
mom
saw it.
watched it. Never watched Grey's Anatomy.
Me neither.
It's just never something that's really been
You never watched
interested
Scrubs?
in. No, not Scrubs.
Scrubs is great. I like Scrubs and I like House, but I only watched the first 3 seasons, something like that. I missed the opportunity to watch it as it was coming out, and I can't really binge like episodic television. It's just so much.
Mm. But yeah, this one is fascinating because it still has a lot of that formula, which is why medical shows work so well in the like network TV age of things. Of you can just pump out 22 episodes of recurring like main cast of the medical staff, and then just new day players come in and out. They just cycle through as a new injury pops up, and then you can just do it over and over and over. That's why we have it was 15 seasons of VR, 20 seasons of Grey's Anatomy. So it's like a very tried and true formula.
Works.
But this one, I think, works well for me because number one, it's the starting point, so I don't have to go through 20 seasons.
Fair.
But it's also more contained. Again, it's just one day. Each hour, you're seeing all the crazy stuff that's happening.
So it is 24-hour rules. The whole season is one day broken up
Yes,
into. Okay, so it follow.
exactly.
Okay, I can dig that. Sure.
Yeah, and then it's so I like that because it just keeps it more focused, and then you also get more of like the patients that they have. You get to see more of them over a few different episodes, as when they first get admitted, and then they get the first operating, and then later maybe they're able to be discharged. So I like that element to it, and then they also get to have more like recurring things that extend throughout. Like right now, there's a subplot which I don't know where they're going with this. They're definitely trying to like make the audience think that it could go wrong in one of two ways. They had a mom who faked a medical emergency because she wanted somebody to take a look at her son because she found that he was writing like death notes, basically like bad things about the girls in his class, and so she's worried he might do something. So I don't know where they're going with it, but he could either shoot up the school or shoot up a festival that they just referenced in the like most recent episode I watched that
Hmm.
the main character's son is going to. So I'm like,
Interesting.
if they end the season by having like a flood of people come in from a shooting, that's going to be insane, truly insane. But in general, again, the I can't compare it to other shows because I haven't watched it, but just the accuracy of all the like medicines and drugs and all this stuff that they're saying, and again, it's like the West Wing style pacing of the dialogue, but with a bunch of medical terms, none of which I understand, but I
Mhm.
assume are entirely accurate. And so that is just compelling because, again, it's these people that are very competent and in these high stress
Mhm.
situations, just executing flawlessly as they need to. And
Mhm.
again, just the craziness, the chaos of trying to save somebody's life as they come in bleeding. So all of that I think works well. Plus, since it's HBO, I guess technically a Mac show, but they can swear as many times they want. They can
Mhm.
show more, I'm assuming, blood and more of the operations, and just more again of the realism that needs to come in. Of like sometimes you have to cut people's clothes off in order to access like their heart or whatever.
Mhm.
So I assume that it's like the most realistic depiction that we've gotten so far. Like it doesn't have those same constraints that the network TV shows had to abide by.
Yeah.
So all of that stuff makes it really compelling. Again, I watched
Mm.
6 episodes, I think, so far of maybe 8 or 9 that they've released, and then I don't know how long the season is going to be. I think maybe 15 episodes. So
Mm.
I'm enjoying it. Again, I'm not saying it's like the greatest thing in the world because it's not up my alley, but I would assume for anyone that likes medical style shows, it's a must watch because
Mm.
the character dynamics are great. Again, the core cast are fantastic. It has
Yeah.
some issues. Again, some of the day players aren't quite so strong, and there were some moments where I was like, okay, it seemed like we were trying to be as realistic as possible, but now we're delving into some like TV logic stuff or just like
Hmm.
things that are just so absurd. Like this one dude is on his third pair of scrubs in 4 hours because they keep like someone bleeds on him or someone pissed on them or someone and he like shook up a bottle of something and got sprayed all over. Um, but this most recent episode, I came back around to it because now I think it's just a funny gag. If they do it every single episode where he just gets bled on and has to change his scrubs, then I fully accept it. I think it's hilarious to do. Same thing with an
15
ambulance.
episodes, 15 hours, 15 pairs of scrubs.
Exactly. There was an ambulance got stolen,
Whoa.
um, and I was like, "That's
This is a really stressful day. This is like the
it's
worst
very
day in this
again crazy
hospital.
things." And so that I was like, "This is maybe one too many things to pile on these people." But then the whole staff, and it's been over like 2 episodes, the whole staff just keep taking these side bets on the ambulance, like who stole it? Was it a patient or a disgruntled EMT? Where's it going to end up? Is it going to end up inside the catch zone, like where they would have to bring the people back? Like if they crash and hit somebody and that person's injured, they would have to bring that person to that very hospital. So they were like taking bets on all that stuff. And then I was like, okay, now I'm back in this. So yeah, some things are like too absurd and like, okay, would all this stuff be happening on one single day? I can spend like 6 hours in this shift. But overall, I'm down with it so far. It's got solid characters. So I'll watch it through the season, see what they do, how things build up. But for now, yeah, I think it's a really, really solid watch.
All right. I think that's awesome. I was looking at it, and it says, The Pit, created by John Wells, executive producer of ER and The West Wing. So there you
There
go.
you go. Makes
There you
sense.
go. Makes sense why you like it. Yep. It's a perfect combination of something you haven't seen but would like to, and something that you are absolutely in love with.
Hmm.
Now, pivoting back to Apple TV, I recently binged watched all of Shrinking while I was waiting for
Okay.
more of Severance to come out. And it is fantastic. It is really, really good. It is following kind of that same premise of Ted Lasso, where it is positivity until you die, even with all this negativity that's around you, even with all this like real world things happening. Positivity, keep it going, which makes sense because it is co-created by Brett Goldstein, who is a writer on Ted Lasso and also
Mm.
plays Roy Kent on Ted Lasso. So it makes sense that they are connected in that fashion, similar themes and whatnot. Uh, I think I'm not talking about Ted Lasso here. Ted Lasso's been out for a long time, even though I did catch up and watch the third season finally this last month. And I would say that I was a little disappointed with how it panned out. I think my big problem with Ted Lasso was that it felt like the writing kind of fell off pretty quickly after the first season and then very steeply in the third season just because it just sort
Mm.
of ran its course, I suppose. And there are even so, there are like gold moments in both those seasons. I think it definitely fell off in a way that I didn't enjoy. Like the pacing was kind of off. And I think it is hard to stick the landing on a show where it is just about characters learning their lesson and being positive and being like really, really good people and trying to be really good people all the time. It is kind of hard to make that as entertaining as like Severance or like Succession, where you're watching like really bad characters who are flawed, who are making these mistakes. And obviously, in Shrinking and Ted Lasso, the characters are flawed. It's just more like realistic, everyday kind of flaws. It's like sitcom stuff, but
Mm.
it's not quite a sitcom. It's also trying to be serialized and not episodic. I think that's harder to do. And I think Shrinking has better, even though I think the first season of Ted Lasso was like the greatest thing ever, I think Shrinking has better longevity in terms of creating flaws that make problems while also creating characters that have good character dynamics and relationships like a sitcom, but problems that extend beyond the sitcom narrative of singular episodes that an episodic series would have. It
Mm.
carries that over into a serialized fashion that I find entertaining. And also, Harrison Ford is fantastic. Harrison Ford absolutely kills it. He is a great comedic actor. He plays the role really, really well. Everybody in the show does a really, really good job. And I think a strong suit with this show, as well as Ted Lasso, is the characters are really well built. And I think they have great journeys that they go on, and they have great chemistry with one another. I just think Ted Lasso, the journeys that the characters go on, they very much fall off in that third season, which makes me very sad. So I'm hoping Shrinking can continue the longevity of the great character journeys and the great dynamics between the characters, because I find that very entertaining in a sitcom sort of way of like, I know the characters as individuals very well. I like seeing these characters interact with one another. I'm very much entertained. I want to see that. I want you to keep going. I want to see that continue onward in a way that I think makes sense with the world that you've built so far, in the way that Ted Lasso didn't quite do that for me. But I'm
Okay.
entertained. I like it. I like Shrinking quite a bit.
Well, I'm glad that Shrinking turned out to be very lovely in its first two seasons. I'm sorry about Ted Lasso 3
That's
not
okay.
being what you wanted.
It ends really well. It has a very good ending. It just rushes it, I think.
So you're not on the boat of bringing Ted Lasso back, which has
No, I
been
am.
in the
I think
conversation
they
for a
need
while.
to bring it back, and because
Be
I think it
better.
had it's like a very heartfelt and entertaining, and it's a well thought out conclusion to the show. I just think season 3 should have been split up into 2 seasons,
Mm,
because they rushed it, and they rushed character development, and they skipped a lot of steps. And I'm like confused how it felt like they were planning to make it 2 seasons, and then someone was like, no, why do I want this to end now? Let's make it 1 season. And they just compacted 2 seasons worth of storylines into one, as opposed to just cutting out whole storylines to make room for the others. They try to fit everything in
mm,
more compact versions individually. And I think it just feels so rushed in a lot of ways, where I'm like, I just wish, I know, I see where you're trying to go. It feels like, end of Game of Thrones, where
okay.
Daenerys turns bad in that last season, and you're like, I see where you're going. It makes sense. I wish you had spent more time building up to it,
Yeah.
because it feels like a turn on a dime, you know.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
I think Ted
I see
Lasso
that.
does that kind of in the last season. So I would like to see a season 4 where they could make new storylines for the characters, come at it very fresh, and just do a full season of television for those journeys, and then end it there, in the same way that season 1, I think, does a very good job of giving character journeys start to finish that are entertaining.
All right. There we
Because
are.
again, season 1 of Ted Lasso, phenomenal start to finish.
Now let's move on back to movies. Last Breath, which is coming out this weekend. I went to go see it. Had some time the other night, so I'm like, let me see what's out in theaters. And so I had seen this one, and I was intrigued by just the idea of seeing, the deep sea repairman, especially going down and dealing with maintenance on oil rigs that are many, many, many feet below the surface of the ocean. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And then the story as well of like, okay, someone gets lost, trapped down there, and then we have to do a rescue mission. It's something that, is far outside of my area of understanding. So I'm like, I'll go in, I'll get to learn some of this stuff. Woody Harrelson's in it. I always love that guy. So why not give it a try? I think it's okay. I was satisfied with, again, learning more about these people that do this insanely scary and terrifying and difficult job. And so that part of it was really, really nice. The production value for that was also great. Again, all the underwater filming that they did was fantastic. And I'm sure it was very accurate as well. The director of this made a documentary about this same story, about this rescue operation. So on that front, it did very well. On making me truly like care about the characters and executing on the tension and suspense of like these moments when we're trying to rescue the character that gets strapped on there. I just don't know that it fully delivered. Some of that I think is just due to the nature of, underwater rescue missions in, this pitch black void where people's motion are not what they are when we're on the surface. And so it's just everything's more slowed down. So it's harder to be more tense and intense when you're, again, just moving so slowly. And there were just some things as well, like one of the big elements of the film is them trying to put on basically autopilot, like restore the autopilot. And I guess that was maybe what actually happened in real life. But I'm like, if we're already going the movie route, you can fictionalize some things. I would say fictionalize the part where the crew is able to band together and pull off this insane thing in the middle of a storm to keep the ship stable, rather than them just trying to restore autopilot. That sort of sapped a lot of the momentum, I thought, and again made it less tense and less like a full team effort when they're rescuing
Mhm.
him. And they do that a little bit. Like what they do as they're trying to lead up to the autopilot stuff is sort of that. I just wanted a continuation of it, where it's like,
Mhm.
oh, not only do we need to like turn the ship around manually, we need to like fully stabilize the ship manually in the middle of this crazy storm. So some issues there, and again, the very beginning and stuff like that was just very sappy, very
Mhm.
cheesy.
Sure.
Um, so I think again, it's okay, decent, solid, but nothing to rush out and go see. I would say, but it's a very cool, like real life story. Crazy that it happened. So it was really fun getting to see that play out. But yeah, I'll give it 2.5 breathing tanks out of 5.
Okay. I think that's fair. The next movie I'm going to talk about, it did technically come out the first week of January, and I did technically watch the first week of January, but I never got to talk about it on the show, so I'm talking about it now. Wallace and Gromit,
Mm.
Vengeance Most Foul. I am a huge Wallace and Gromit fan. I have seen the original shorts. I guess you can call them shorts. They're 30 minutes, which is kind of the length of a feature uh, television episode. But I mean, there's only four of them, plus the feature film, plus another one they made in the 2010s, and now this one. Uh, Curse of the Were Rabbit is one of my favorite animated movies of all time. I absolutely love it. I watched it recently on a plane trip somewhere to Chicago, I think. And again, fantastic.
Mm.
What a wonderful, wonderful little tale of rabbits and contraptions and cheese and everything. I just Wensleydale. I mean, just everything regarding Wallace and Gromit reminds me so much of my childhood and watching those little animated shorts with my brother, watching them go to the moon to look for cheese, watching Wallace's pants go haywire because he has the mechanical pants. Everything to do with Shaun the Sheep, which they also made, Chicken Run, which they also made. Wait, did they do Shaun the Sheep? Did Aardman do Shaun the Sheep?
I I wouldn't know.
I'm going to fact check that one. But uh, I love it. I love stop motion animation. I love uh, I love just Wallace and Gromit. I think it's wonderful. So speaking of this movie very very specifically, uh, yes, Shaun the Sheep is Aardman. Okay, so yes, they also did Shaun the Sheep, which I also love. Uh, and of course, speaking of claymation, Fantastic Mr. Fox is my favorite animated movie of all time. So I'm definitely like a big fan of claymation things, and I think Aardman does claymation better than anybody else in the game. My second favorite movie of last year was claymation.
Hmm.
God, I just really love claymation. I
You
think it's
do.
because
You're a huge.
when I was a kid, I used to do stop motion stuff myself with like my Legos and like make little films with the stop motion stuff. So I
Mhm.
definitely have an appreciation and a love for all things stop motion, and I think obviously Aardman does it better than anybody else in the game, and Wallace and Gromit is their best property. Personally speaking, that's what I think. So I was very very excited to see their return to the big screen, and it is so delightful. I love Feathers McGraw, the Penguin, returning. I think he's such a great little villain. I think he has so many little touches to make him so devious and so conniving that make it that are so hilarious because he's so expressionless. He's just two little dots on a pinball, like a bowling ball. or a
Hmm.
bowling pin. That's all he looks like. He's just little two little dot eyes, and he has no mouth. He just has a beak, and he wears a little glove on his head to make him look like a chicken. It's just so funny. All the bits they do, everything to do with the gnome. I was iffy on the gnome at first, just because it felt a little bit too cheesy and it felt a little bit like overkill. But I think they lean into it in a way that made me appreciate it more as the film went on. Obviously, the gnome becomes like the big part of the film. A gnome to help out becomes a gnome to attack, as all Walsh's inventions eventually do somehow. And I think I definitely find an appreciation for it. I still think I like Curse of the Were Rabbit a little bit more, just because I think it's a little bit funnier, and I
Hmm.
think the story is a little bit more ridiculous in a lot of ways. I do think it was a bold and smart choice to bring back Feathers McGraw, though. He's the best villain in the Wallace and Gromit. I mean, the hunter in Were Rabbit is funny. It's Ray Fiennes, which is always great, and so he has great moments. But Feathers McGraw is just so iconic. He's so incredible, and he's back in his vengeful glory. He's definitely like a villain not to mess with. You know, he's one of the great villains of cinema history, and I think his return is well warranted and awesome. I love it. He does the thing. He's in prison and he does the thing that what is it called? Robert De Niro does in Cape Fear, where he's doing pull ups and he's looking at the wall, seeing when he's going to get out of prison. I
Yeah.
love that. It's so funny. And he's just a little penguin, so he has little flipper arms, and he just pulls himself up with his little flipper arms. It's just so funny. I love it. It's just so entertaining. It's so lighthearted and joyous. And Gromit is one of the great animated dogs, in my opinion. He's up there with Snoopy and Scooby Doo. You know, I think Gromit
He's on the
is,
Mount Rushmore.
yeah, absolutely. He's one of the four greats, and I just,
So who's the fourth? You got Snoopy, Scooby,
uh,
Gromit, and who else? Of animated dogs?
for me personally, I think maybe Jake the dog.
Hmm. From
Adventure
Adventure
Time.
Time?
Yeah, I think so. What about you? Who are your great animated dogs?
I definitely like Snoopy and Scooby.
Okay.
They'd be up there for sure. I haven't seen Adventure Time, so I can't speak to Jake.
Mhm.
How many animated dogs are there out there
There's Brian.
beyond this? Oh, okay.
Big
Yeah.
Brian. There
I
is
think probably the
Marmaduke.
most familiar with that dog, other than maybe Scooby. We should look that up. That should be. We'll make a tier list on that.
There are many animated dogs. I just am blanking right now.
The dog from Up. He's pretty great. I like him.
Yeah,
One
there you
solo
go.
appearance. Squirrel. Quoted that one plenty of times. He could be
Of
up there.
course, Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh, classic, classic.
Pluto.
Yes.
Uh, who is the dog from Jimmy Neutron? The robot dog.
Do we count Goofy as a dog too?
That's tough. Odie from Garfield.
Okay.
Uh, the
Should do that one day. We'll just do a tier list of
yeah.
best animated dogs, best animated cats,
I don't give a shit about the
other
cats. I'm sorry,
animals.
man.
Wow.
I'm
That's
sorry.
crazy.
Clifford, the big red
Clifford's
dog.
got to be up there. Clifford.
Clifford's a
Clifford
pretty
is
good dog. Yeah,
he's a great dog.
the dog from Up is a good pick for sure.
Hmm.
Uh, Underdog.
Okay.
Yeah.
Solid.
The what about the dog from the two dogs from what is it called? What is the Romeo and Juliet where they the dogs and they what is it called when they eat the spaghetti and their lips, Lady
Oh,
and the Tramp, the
Lady and the
dogs from
Tramp.
Lady and the
Yeah, yeah.
Tramp. Yeah, there's
They're
those
pretty great.
dogs. Slinky Dog, Toy Story.
True. Very nice. Very nice. The dog from Bolt. Bolt from Bolt.
Bolt is a good choice. Blue's Clues, Blue from Blue's
Oh,
Clues. That is a really good
that's an
dog.
exceptional pick.
Mhm. Santa's
Wow.
Little Helper from The Simpsons.
Nice. Okay, we'll revisit this. This is the true. Forget about movies, Oscars. Forget about that. It's all about
Best
animated
animated
dogs.
dogs is a tough one. I
You're
think
gonna
my Mount Rushmore, my
definitive
top
list.
four is Gromit, Jake the dog, Snoopy, Scooby. I
Gotcha.
think that's solid to me.
Scooby's there for sure. Clifford, I think, definitely has to be there.
Clifford's up
And
there.
Snoopy, he's great. And then uh Blue's Clues. The dog from that
Yeah.
might be up there. Thinking too now of
Yeah.
other animals.
Anyway, going back to Wallace and Gromit
Rabbit,
is
bunnies, Max and Ruby up there for
Bugs.
sure. Ooh, different bugs.
Bugs is the best bunny.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Bugs has always been the best bunny.
True.
100%.
I'd have to abstain from the rodent conversation. I don't like rats.
Not even
Animated rats
not
again
even
is
Remy.
my hatred against. Again,
I
he's
think
already
animated rats is pretty solid. I mean, Mickey, Remy, Minnie,
the rats from Nosferatu who
Bluto.
were real. You hear that? That's crazy.
Yeah, isn't that awesome? They were very, very sweet, apparently.
Oh, well, that's nice.
No.
But keep them away from me. That's crazy. I would.
I mean, the rats from The Last Crusade were all real, too.
Wow.
And there's
What
videos
about
of
the
Harrison
snakes
Ford
in
holding up a rat and just petting the rat.
were the snakes real? I mean, they do that a lot, right? Raiders, like the
Yeah, there were definitely real stakes on Raiders. And then in Last Crusade, when young Indy crashes through the train and lands in the snake, some of them are real for sure.
gnarly, just
Yeah.
gnarly.
It's tough to be an actor doing shit like that. Poor River Phoenix. That's rough.
All right, what would you give Wallace and Gromit? Vengeance most foul.
I give it a 4.5. I still think Curse of the Were Rabbit is my favorite uh of the two in terms of like feature length Wallace and Gromit films. But Revenge Most Foul is definitely like a very, very solid return to form, and it is just absolutely delightful. And I wish you loved Wallace and Gromit as much as I did. It's just my brother and I. We're the only two people I know that love Wallace and Gromit.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. Curse of the Were Rabbit is also so funny. It's great.
What would you
It's
give
such a
that?
stupid
Is that
gun. That's a
a
5 out of
5 out of
5.
5?
That is,
Yeah.
it is fantastic. It is so funny.
Cool. All right. Now we will wrap up with talking about the biggest phenomenon of the year so far. The worldwide smash hit, but mainly because of China. Ninja 2. Now I'm of two minds of this, Dylan. Because on one hand, I want to convey my true thoughts about this film. On the other
Mm.
hand, I don't want to overhype it, but this film is awesome.
No
It
fucking
rips.
way.
It rips. It's so good. It's fantastic.
You haven't even seen the first one.
No, I have not. But they had basically like they just info dump the first 2 or 3 minutes. They like catch you up to speed. They give you
So
the
you don't need
backstory
to
of
see the
it.
first one.
You don't. However, I do want to watch it because I have some issues. I have some questions, and I wonder
Okay.
how many of those will be resolved or answered by watching the first one.
Okay.
But yeah, they
Is
do
there a
give you
way
at
to
least
watch the first one? Is it
the
streaming
bare
anywhere?
minimum. I think it
You
is.
gotta
I
be
think
able
it's
to
actually
rent
very
it.
accessible. I was just like, I want to go see this film tonight and not go see the first one. And because I thought, okay, the backstory gets explained, it'd be okay to go into it without having seen the first one. But again, there's some just questions about the motivations of certain characters and why they're doing certain things, especially at the very beginning of the film, which
Mhm.
seem to be very against what ultimately they want out of protecting a certain character. So I'm like, this doesn't make sense. But again, maybe in the first film it's more clear. But no, you can still definitely enjoy it without seeing the first film.
Mhm.
But I do want to rewatch Ninja 2 after seeing the first film and having all the pieces together because, like I said, it is fantastic. The animation
Mhm.
is beautiful. It's
Really good.
not on like 100%, but you can tell like once it gets there, like the visual spectacle of it is breathtaking,
It's
fantastic.
3D animation, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Um, and it
interesting.
looks incredible. Again, there's some moments which I guess it kind of makes sense because when they're more just like talking or more um, like traditional, we're just doing a funny bit type of
Mhm.
animated film, it's like, okay. But then once they get into those action sequences, again, some of the like scope of what they're depicting there is tremendous, like truly epic levels. And then the world building as well is great because it's again all this like Chinese mythology stuff that I'm not that familiar with, and so diving into it was both great because I'm a huge fan of just seeing all this crazy stuff going on with
Mhm.
they've got demons, they've got these immortals. They got different levels of gods here and there, and so you're like going through navigating all of that, which is great.
Fascinating.
Um, I do again have some questions. I wonder how much will be answered by the first film, or if it's one of those things where again, like you don't really need a breakdown of like who is Zeus's kids or not, and the connections of some of the like Greek gods and whatever. There's just like so
Mhm.
baked into our understanding that we don't really give info dumps whenever we do Greek mythology style stories. So I wonder if that's the case here. We're just like, oh, for the main audience that they're targeting, like they know some of the stuff here, like they know who's connected to who and why this matters in a certain way. But
Sure, that makes sense.
in general, it's just like great to be plunged into that very well thought out, very vibrant, fantastical world. So I love that. Um, there's just again some things here of like everyone's able to fly. Like, what is sort of the differentiation here? Like, who are just the normal humans? Because I don't know that there was a single one in the movie, but
I
um,
mean, you watch like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. They're
yeah.
all flying around
I
wirework
mean,
stuff.
also true. So it's like, is it just one of those things as well? I mean, they're flying like
Creative
more
liberties, yeah.
significantly than that, but because those are just sort of like jumps with a lot of hang time. But in this one, again, they're like flying way across oceans and land masses and everything. Um, but it's just awesome. Again, the humor throughout a lot of it is so well done. Many laugh out loud moments. Some of it is like a little childish here and there, but others are just great bits that like anyone of any age could enjoy. And then the action, so well done, well choreographed. Again, the animation during those moments, just as good as you could possibly ask for. And then the heart of the film as well is so good. Like there's again, especially in the beginning, you're like, okay, this does seem like it's leaning towards childish stuff. It gets pretty heavy,
Oh
like
shit.
midway through the movie, and then towards the end, like there's some payoffs here of some of the character relationships that are so well done, and again had my eyes watering. Like it's just
Hmm.
so impactful, so beautiful as well. Like the animation, the score was really strong there. Like all of it coming together to just create this profound like emotional reaction, which I was not expecting going into it. So I think it's a great fun time, and then a lot of moments to just laugh and a lot of moments to be like genuinely impacted by the the connections these characters have, and then when it's at risk you feel that. So I'm very much looking forward to Nijat 3
Hmm.
whenever that comes out, which could be many many years from now. It seems like this is like their equivalent to Across the Spider Verse, where it's like a great follow up, and it sort of leaves not on as harsh a cliffhanger, but it's like okay, clearly the story's not over. Who knows when we're gonna get the next one? But I thought it was an incredible fantasy epic. I'm excited to see more. It definitely landed for me. I want to rewatch it again at some point. Hopefully, I don't know. Again, I could do it in theaters. We'll just have to see um, if it stays in theaters for the next couple weeks. But if it does, I may go revisit that after seeing the first Nisha because it was fantastic. Also, I want to give a shout out to the character of Zhao Bao. First of all, great name, love it. Second of all, he's like a shapeshifter,
Hmm.
um, so he can shift into a leopard. And
Oh,
as you know, I love anything to do with cats in Skyrim, which I never played. But there's the different like races you can play.
Khajiit.
I would definitely be playing the cat one.
The
So I
Khajiit.
just thought like the introduction of these, and it's like part of a family of these like shapeshifters into the leopards. I thought that was very cool. And there's a cool thing that they do when he's like running and then shifts into it. Um, so just shout out there of like an example of again that like fantastical character creation basically that they do, which is great. And they do that with a lot of the sea monsters that you see. There's dragons in there that are obviously like the Chinese dragon style. And then there's these two, I don't even know what they are, but just little like guards that are protecting the city. And they're like each one half of like each other. And it's just, again, like a very creative, compelling design. A lot of stuff like that. There's this big cauldron throughout the film that is awesome. There's this claw that they call the like sky splitting claw, that which I've never seen before. Like this man uses it as like a whip, whips the sky, and then it like cuts the sky open basically, and stuff starts
Whoa.
pouring out of it. I'm like, this is incredible. So again, just moments like that where it's like this is so creative and fresh, and I'm glad that I was able to experience that. So I am very much recommending Nijatu.
That's awesome. I think of the ones you've talked about that I haven't seen, I think I'm most excited to see Companion and Nija 2 now. And I'm going to watch the first one first. I think I'm going to rent it, watch it, and then go see Nija 2 in theaters. Ryan, of
Mhm.
the things that I talked about, what are you going to try and see the most, I should
So
say?
Severance is definitely, I mean, it's been on the list since the first season, so that's
Mhm.
there and probably going to be watched at some point. I'll just need to see when I do that. But you were talking up common side effects like crazy,
It is
so
great.
I might need to dive into that. And you said just 5 episodes, so it'd be easy to catch up and work into my rotation
It'd be very
of
easy, yeah.
shows. So
They're
yeah,
each like 20 something minutes. It's a very quick watch.
so yeah, I think that one could be easily on the list because I could watch. Well, White Lotus is very long, but the Pit, I'm sort of at a weird because those are also long episodes, but um, it's easier to just like start and stop whenever. You don't need to
Mhm.
really like watch the full episode in one go. Um, so it could be a companion piece that I do if I watch an episode that's relatively short. I can just slap on common side effects right after. So
Hell
I don't
yeah.
know. I'm intrigued. I've been seeing you like watching it and saw a bit of
Mhm.
the animation style. So I'm like, what's going on here?
Definitely odd
Curious.
looking,
I
but
haven't heard
it
anything else
grows on you
about it.
very quickly.
So I'm fascinated to
The theme song, banger.
check that out. Theme song is a banger. Okay,
Theme
so
song's a
that's
banger. Severance theme song's a bigger banger.
oh
Who does the Severance theme? I gotta look it up. Because, buddy, you're gonna love it. It's the best TV theme song since Succession.
wow, high
It's
praise.
like you could put it on and just jam to it in the car. In the same way that you could do that with the Succession one.
God, Succession
His
so
name
good.
is Theodore Shapiro.
Theodore Shapiro. All right,
He
the
did the music
composers
on
again. Just
Tropic
shout
Thunder
out.
and Secret Life of Walter Mitty, so he's a Ben Stiller fave.
Oh, there you go, collaborator.
Fucking killed it
The
on
composers again.
Succession.
Shout outs this episode. We love banger theme songs, so shout out to y'all that do it. But all right, there's our feisty February grab bag. Quite a lot of stuff.
Absolutely.
A lot more praise than our recent grab bags, I think.
Yeah.
Even our January one, of course, was tough since that's usually February, but a lot of solid stuff here. Great things
Yeah.
to check out.
I've been gunning for some good things to watch, and I definitely got my fill. Apple TV, I watched the best they have to offer, and skipped the rest. And HBO Max, always bangers. HBO Max is the
Absolutely.
best. Peak streaming, HBO Max. That's all the time we have. If you'd like to give your thoughts on the show, you can email us at theboxofficialpod@gmail.com.
Our main title theme for the show is Sundown by Joseph McDay.
If you like the show, please give us 5 stars on whatever podcast app you're listening to, and be sure to tune in next week. Have a great rest of your day.